Hey there guys, so in this video we're just going to quickly cover some of the commands that are coming with the new upcoming mission update on the Task Group Warrior or TGW dedicated server for Red Iberia. So one of the biggest things asked for was the ability to move the tankers, so we've actually implemented this. You can now command a tanker to move its route. You can also command the AFACs to move and ask for a F-15 cap to do various bits and pieces. Now, it's important that you understand you need to be able to get into DCS and into the F10 map. Anyone who can put mark points down can do this, so any of the free birds can do it or the like. So we're going to start with the tankers. To use the new commands, we come up and we press the mark point button, and then we click where we want on the map for the command to be carried out. So in this case, we're going to tell it to come out over here. So the command we enter is tanker, which tells it that we want a tanker. Route, which tells it we want to route the tanker to that location. And then the tanker. Now there's currently two we can use, Arco 2.1 and Texaco 2.1. We're going to move Texaco 2.1 over here. Now we could just leave it like this and the tanker will move here, but we want a couple of extra commands in here because we can, though actually we'll do that with Arco 2.1. So if we just do this, click off and then click the X, we look up here, we can see that Texaco 2.1 is being routed to here. And if we look down here, because these are the two Texaco tankers, this one just here should end up over here. We'll use the command again, but this time we're going to add those extra parameters I was just talking about. So again, we click here, we come to where we want the tanker to be. In this case, we're going to move the tanker up and over here. So we actually want to zoom out. Going to move the tanker so he's orbiting north and south along here. We're going to do it with this one down here who's Arco 2.1. So we're going to tell it tanker route. This time Arco 2.1. We could just do Arc 2.1 as well. Now we're going to put in a couple of commands. We're going to put comma. We're going to heading. We're going to put a heading. You can do it capital or lower. Of 190 degrees at a speed of 350 knots over the ground at an altitude of 21,000 feet for a distance of 50 nautical miles. So what we're telling it here is we want the tanker in the route, and we want Arco 2.1. We want him to orbit on a heading of 190 at a speed of 350 knots over the ground at an altitude of 21,000 feet and to do 50 nautical mile legs. And you can see it's confirmed it just here. And he should move up and end up coming up here and flying his legs. You can see Texaco 2.1 slowly making its way over. Now the commands that we issue for the AFAC are very similar, except for we use AFAC and the command we want. So if we click on this guy down here, we can see that he's Dodge 2.1 or DGD 2.1. So let's say we want, and he's currently going to do this, but let's say we want him to come up here for some reason. We can do that. So we can go AFAC route Dodge 2.1, and he'll come up here and he'll fly the defaults, which it'll tell us. So he's just going to fly circles up here at an altitude of 9,000 feet and a ground speed of 120. Again, we can tell these guys to do different things as well. So we'll use dodge 11 down here. We're going to route him, AFAC, route, dodge 11. We want him to be on a heading of 310. We need that space in there. At an altitude of 12,000 feet, doing a speed of 100 knots over a distance of 20 nautical miles. And as we can see, he's going to go do that. Now the final one is the F-15 cap. If the F-15 cap isn't up, which it isn't at the moment, entering any of these commands will actually, except for one, will tell it to spawn it. So we're going to tell it to get the F-15 cap up and started. So we're going to send it here and we're going to go cap route. That's all we need to type. And we can see that the mud hens are scrambling. They should be on station for tasking in under 5 minutes. And will remain until they're bingo, Winchester or dead. And if we look, there's 2 F-15s on the runway just here, getting ready to take off. And if we go to the external, we can see they're curling along. Now, there is a small bug you can find happening occasionally with the F-15s, and it happens no matter if what you're doing, even if you're just using them on the mission editor, and that's that occasionally one might go off and do its own thing. We can kind of stop that by basically telling it that it's not allowed to do anything. So we can set cap ROE, so we're going to tell it that the rules of engagement are currently HF, or hold fire. Which will basically force these guys to kind of not pay attention to anybody but themselves, which can come in handy occasionally. Now, we've got a couple of other options we can do on that. We can use cap ROE free, which will make it free fire, and we can use RF, which is return fire, so they'll return fire if they're fired on. But what other options do we have for them? Well, we can tell them to patrol. So let's say we wanted them to patrol from there to here. We can come in and we can do cap patrol, and they will patrol between this location and this location. And like the others, we can set commands up. So we can set the speed. We'll tell them we want them to do 400 knots over the ground. We can set the altitude, but we do this in angels for these guys, so we're going to set them to come up to 35,000 feet. And we can set the engage distance that they will engage objects at with an E. So we're just going to tell these guys that they can engage anything that comes within 30 nautical miles. And again, we do this, and we can see that they've been given the task to patrol, and they will do that. And we can also see that they're climbing rather rapidly here. The final command that can be issued to the tankers other than the fact that the route command can also include all the hold information and everything like that, like the tankers. So you could do cap route and then speed 400, heading 010, distance 75, engage 40, and that would tell it to do a orbit, so a pattern orbit as if it's doing a cap hold or something like that. But the other command here is refuel. So what refuel does, in theory, it doesn't always seem to be working at the moment, is it tells these two to go find a tanker, tank, and then come back and hold at this point. So we can include any of the other information except for the fact that they can't fly a cap pattern afterwards. They can only hold at this location. So in this case, we may tell them that once they're done, we want them at 350 knots here, Angels 225, with an engagement of 35 nautical miles. So we just told them to go and refuel. As we can see, they're already starting to drop altitude now. They were up at 30,000 feet. They'll go hunt down a tanker, refuel, and then come back. Or at least that's what they should do. If they need fuel. If they don't need fuel, they just go and hold at the hold point. But that covers the new commands for air-to-air, guys. You still do have the option to bring up the radio, go other, coalition support, request AI support, and do this. If you request the cap will be told to basically route itself up into this location and do a hold basically over Sakumi. Anyway, I hope this helps you when the mission goes live, and catch you later.